I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am your host, Mannings man. And as usual, we always want to take time out at the beginning of our show to give thanks to the Most High God that we have life and that life is abundant life. We forever say we will look to the hills from whence cometh our help. Our help comes from the Lord who made heaven and he made the earth. Listen, you may not have all the things you want in this life, but you have life. You're living and you got to give thanks for that. You understand me? Never be ungrateful because you have life. You know what? Some of you have your families. You know, many people just recently where I live, there was accidents. This morning, there was an accident and people die. And we are here traversing the earth and we have life. So we give thanks. Murder rate increasing. You are here. All kind of sicknesses. So give thanks. Here's the second thing that I want you to do. You understand me? No matter what, man. Love your family. If you're a father, take care of your kids. You never know. That could be the next megastar, superstar, global star that God has given you to take care of. Don't miss the moment. If you're a mother, listen, raise your children, right. If you're a child, show honor to your mother and your father, even if they don't treat you the way you think they should have. Maybe they just didn't know. Honor your mother and your father so that your days may be long. All right. Thanks to every single one of you for joining. Again, it's an absolute privilege to have you on today, on this Sunday evening, when you could be out having ice cream with your family or preparing them for back to school if you're in Jamaica or something, just spending time with your spouse. But you have taken the time out, home and abroad, to be on this platform at this time, and I want to say a big thank you to you. I know it's not because of me, because I'm here every day. You're here because of our esteemed guests. All right, it's going to be, I believe, a fruitful conversation. And every conversation that I have on my platform, though we highlight issues, it's always to seek a way to make things better. Because I understand that we live in a world where things are not perfect. And as much as I want to be a critic and all of that, I also believe that I owe it to those I criticize that where the possibility exists to put forward motions, ideas, and thoughts that can make things better. So the purpose of this dialogue is how we can make things better. we as people in general, especially in the sport of football that we all love so dearly. Thanks again to every single one of you. We don't want to stop the video to ask you to do this and to do that and all of that. So please make sure that you hit the like button, you subscribe. Please make sure that you have subscribed to the platform, you share the content with someone, and right now take a little bit of time to like the video. All right, I believe we have some great ideas that are going to come up. We're going to hear some great things that are happening in the football, and we're going to discuss some of the problems with the football. Hopefully, coming up with solutions to fix them. All right, so we have Mr. Dennis Chung. He has already joined. I'm going to also be joined by Omar Rogers, who you know he is a part of this channel, and the man we call Stan Kronke. The president is also going to be here, so I'm going to invite Mr. Dennis Chung, who you're all familiar with. I mean, he has surpassed Mr. Speed now in terms of YouTube appearance. So at the end of the year, he's going to get the YouTube award for most appearance. I don't know. I'm just kidding with that. But so let's welcome Mr. Dennis Chung to the platform. Mr. Chung, welcome.
Hi, how you doing, Mannings? I don't want no mug or anything like that. Give me the money in terms of the award, yeah.
You
I
want
mean,
money for the
my man
award?
will be with cash, yeah. I don't need no symbol.
If it is Jamaican, then we can do something about that, you know. But if it's any other currency, we may struggle to, to do that. It's easy to find Jamaican in this time because of the value of it. But it's so good to have you on again. I know
Yeah,
you have
man.
been up and down traveling all around. So it's good that you have taken the time this evening to be a part of it. I know you had to pick up the female World Cup trophy as well, as it has arrived in Jamaica and supposed to be on some tour.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I wasn't in the delegation that went to pick it up. The president led it. I deliberately did not go because I wanted to. For the past couple of weeks, I haven't been able to do a good bicycle ride, so I went to ride this
Oh,
morning. But the president was there. Also, the chairman of the committee, Mr. Dennis Grant. The minister was there also, along with
that's
her
Minister Grange.
Mr. Grange, yeah, along with her assistant, Bob Ali McNabb, and also the Crystal Walters, the senior women's coach, and I think Lon Donaldson was there also, the coach.
Crystal is the manager, and Lauren
The
is the
manager,
coach.
the manager for the senior women's team, yeah. But I deliberately, but because I'm telling you, I mean, I have not been able to jump on my bicycle, and I told the president that, boy, president, you're winging it.
So
But the president,
you skip the
as
big
always,
trophy
you
for
know,
a bike. You skip the big trophy for a bicycle ride.
yeah, man, the president represents well, man. When the president is around, you don't need me around, you know.
Yeah. All
No,
right.
man.
Mr. Ricketts, welcome to the show. Good evening. So you still seem to be on the road. I mean that. Oh, we're not hearing you. We're not getting any audio on your
You're
side.
on mute. You look like you're on mute, Prezi. Check it.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me now?
We hear
Yeah,
you now.
man.
Hear you
Yeah,
now.
man.
Wonderful.
Okay, great. I was saying thanks for having me and good evening to you and the Gensec and to all
Yeah.
your listeners.
Yeah. I mean, how did you feel when he told you that he's not coming to help carry the trophy? He's going to ride his bicycle.
Well,
As the president.
I thought I was left alone forever. But it did work out well, to be honest. Crystal did an excellent job. We got there just in time, Mr. Dennis Grant and Crystal, and of course myself. We were all there. The flight got in on time. The minister and her entourage were also there. So it went well. The 4 FIFA reps, 2 females, 2 males, came in. We met. We were royally treated by the staff at the airport. TVJ was there, so we did some interviews. Those who were aware of what it was got really very excited. But like I've said, it went very well, and kudos to those who had organized the entire exercise. Congratulations to Tamicia, Crystal, Georgia, the Gensec, of course. I think it was a job very well executed.
And management, let me just add that, one of the things that the president is trying to do, and certainly worked out with this, is that Mr. Dennis Grant, who is a corporate person, actually the CEO of CariMed, he was the chairman. So the president is trying to get corporate people to come on and chair committees as needed, So I think that was a good touch.
To have Mr. Dennis Grant there.
Yes.
Okay. We also have Kronke. Kronke is one of the members of the diaspora. Welcome. He's not doing. I hope he's not in a cranky mood today because his Arsenal gave up a 2-0 lead against West Ham. So I hope he
What? Oh my Lord! That certainly would make anybody unwell.
Management, my philosophy is this: we have overachieved this year, so I'm taking a positive.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a good way to look at it. But can you tell us a little bit about what happened with the trophy? What will be happening before it leaves Jamaica, and then we can get down, seeing that we brought that up. How long it will be here, where it will be going, while it is here in Jamaica.
All right. Dennis, you want me to take that, or you want to take that?
Yeah, you go ahead first, Prezi. I'll take that.
Okay, all right. What happens tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock? We'll have a very formal meeting. The minister will head the list of speakers. That would include the rep from the Australian High Commission, so to the president of the GOA, a speaker from CONCACAF, and of course myself. Then after that exercise, we go to St. Jago, the alma mater of course, our most decorated player, Miss Khadija Shaw. We'll do a presentation at St. Jago. Of course, we'll certainly give them photo opportunities. Then we move from St. Jago and we go to Ocherios High. That's the alma mater of an upcoming star, that's Jody Brown. So the St. Anne FA will be responsible for us while we are at Ocherios High. From Ocherios High, we go into Montego Bay. And again, we'll have a kind of a semi-formal exercise. We will be at the Harmony Park, I hope that's the correct name. Then we will head over to this hotel where the key members will have some refreshment and then just do a post-mortem on the day's activities. But we have a very interesting day lined up, and I'm absolutely sure that the visitors, and they are very, very excited, the visitors meaning the reps coming in from FIFA. In fact, one of the guys said to me that, Mr. President, my first meal, I hope, is jerk chicken. I don't think that's possible. It won't be his first, but we will definitely try to make them as happy as we can. And like I said, we're looking forward to a very exciting day tomorrow.
And then it goes back to the airport and leaves Jamaica.
It leaves the following morning. I think they go to Canada tomorrow. Okay. I mean, rather Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. Anything you want to add, Mr. Chung?
No, I think that the president has addressed everything. I mean, we're very happy, of course, for this opportunity, for it to be there. And like, as the president said, I also want to congratulate everyone who has been organizing, because it's been a lot, and the persons who are also assisting us, including the police and all of that. So it's a huge event. I mean, we have stewards that's assisting us with transportation, water, is also assisting us. And Grace Kennedy also is giving us some giveaways in terms of baskets. So, it's a team effort, and it's happy to see everybody come together. So I think the president made a right choice in terms of, getting a corporate person to come on and assist us with the chairmanship.
Which is Mr. Dennis.
Dennis and Mannings, if I may, I just like to, of course, congratulate Minister Grange I think she has been a part of a most historic exercise, having been the minister with responsibility for sport on both occasions when the girls would have qualified. And she has committed to giving us as much support as she can. We will have some discussions with her as we plan and chart a way forward heading down to Australia in this summer. But congratulations also to the Marley Foundation, who would have given yeoman service to the entire process, the Reggae Girls Foundation, and all the sponsors who would have assisted in getting us to where we are. It's not an ordinary achievement for a country like ours to have qualified for 2 global female tournaments consecutively. I think we really must congratulate all the parties involved.
All right, wonderful. All right, so on that note, we're just going to ask a little bit of question on the women's side of football. That is probably the most urgent thing right now in terms of preparing for the World Cup. I know we have the Gold Cup, but recently the Reggae Girls had a camp in the United Kingdom where both of you had to fly over there because of some mishap. Can you explain to and I know after the whole whatever happened after the game, the coach came out and the statements were that everything worked out well and commendations were given. But can you really, for those who maybe misunderstand, because people saw that as a continuation of previous struggle we have had in the past in the same area. All right. So can you just
All
explain?
right, I'm going to just say a little bit, but I'm going to ask Dennis to expound.
Right.
It's not easy when you have 12 teams to manage, 6 on either side of the gender. I think in 2021, I think I had asked the manager to give me an idea how many times we went overseas with national units. And I think the number he gave me was 27. So in a calendar year, to travel with a team overseas 27 times, bound to present some challenges. We had absolutely no control. Both Minister Johnson and Minister Grange gave us as much support as they could have. And yet we fell short by 2 days. I think we got the visas 2 days late. But we were able to have gotten staff members from Leicester City to have, and they, I am sure, did a pretty decent job. Then, of course, we got in the equipment manager that we were very happy about. And they say all's well that ends well. But I'm going to ask Dennis, if he so desires, to just give a little bit more detail on what transpired so that, and he would certainly be in a better position to do so. So I now just ask Dennis to, like I say, expound on what I would have said.
Yes, President. So, the president is right, Mannings, man. When people talk about mishap, I don't see no mishap. The fact of the matter is that I think the staff did everything that they were supposed to do in the time that they were supposed to do it in. Remember also that there was some uncertainty because we were supposed to have played Cameroon, and 8 days after we signed the contract, Cameroon decided that they can't make it because of the same visa issues that they were having, and they decided that they were not going to make it. Now, if we were not prepared, we would have just not gone also. But however, we had booked all the flights already. We had made the preparation for the hotels. We had done everything else. It's just that we did not get the visas for the girls on time, the staff on time. So we knew that we would have gotten it by the Thursday. But the coach wanted support up there from the Tuesday or Wednesday. And that is why myself and the president decided to go and carry up the equipment and the gears, which also, we've been having a challenge with timeliness of those coming in. And we got everything up. The fact of the matter is that, when we recognized that the visas were not coming back from New York, the precise date that we needed it, we said, we sat in a huddle with the coach and we said, Coach, listen, can we get some staff up there that will help you? He agreed. We got staff, and it worked out very well. The equipment man came up the Saturday, right? After he got his visa, he came up. It worked out very well with the staff up there. As you see, the report from the coach that came out in the interview, I think that was a positive interview coming from him. The girls had a good match. The girls won 2-0, and Sheffield United was not an easy team, I must tell you. And I think that the reception up there was very good. So these things happen, and the fact of the matter is that what we did is that we did put solutions in place for a matter that we had no control over. So I mean, when people say that it was a mishap, I mean, next time the people who say that, we'll go to them to issue the visas for us.
Well, I think why it was referred to as that is the truth is that there has been an ongoing similarity, because a lot of people say this is not the first time we have heard where something came up travel arrangement and where the communication is not clear, because remember, people did not know until communication came from the football inside. So it's not like the information, people were privy to the information.
Right.
So
Yeah,
is
that's fair. That's fair.
is there a better way for you to manage the information that is put out? Because all of this could have been communicated from the onset, that all the other conversations about it don't come up, which could become distractions.
The
I
truth
don't know how
is,
you feel about that.
but the truth is, management. Maybe we can do that, but the truth is that we didn't see the need because we had found the solutions for it. I don't think we saw the need immediately to communicate that about it. And I mean, you must appreciate that the best time to communicate things is after things are fully resolved. We have certain things in place, And when people called us, we did answer the questions about what the issues were, but carefully noted that, things were in place. I mean, the staffing that they needed was actually there. And there were some people who rallied around and gave us tremendous help, in England. So I don't think that
how girls are feeling. Yeah, with that happening, how are they? Because the most important component in this is the girls.
It's the girls.
They're the ones going to how, having gone to England, probably having to meet with them. Where are they now? Or can we say that they're in a good place? The coaches, staff is at a good place, heading into the final run into Australia.
Well, I mean, the communication I have with the coaches is very good. I mean, he feels positive about the meetings that we had. And I think, Prezi can comment on it, but I think that it was a blessing in disguise for us to go up there and have the meeting, because the meeting was very positive. Prezi?
Yeah, what actually happened is that we met with both components, staff. Of course, I had a very, very frank discussion with the staff members. And afterwards, all the girls came in, we sat with them, and we had a fulsome discussion as to what would have happened in the past, what is happening now, and what we plan to do in the future. And like I said, they were very respectful in their queries and comments. And we thought that we had a very, very good and cordial meeting with both the staff and with the girls. Afterwards, they did express their satisfaction with what would have transpired in that meeting. And I would certainly want to suggest that they were very, very happy with the outcome. And we just now need to ensure that we keep our end of the bargain and they keep theirs. But I think everything is fine from a relationship standpoint. And I do believe that both the coaching staff, the technical staff, and the players, we're all in good standing right now.
And Mannings, man, you'd have seen the tone of the interview that came out in the Gleaner, which we didn't know was coming out, right? With the coach.
Okay,
which
yes.
was was pleasantly positive. So that says it at the end. I mean, the staff is in good spirits. The players seem to be in good spirits. So I think that was the important thing. And the preparation continues. We've already started looking at the windows for June. And how we're going to deal with that with the coach. So I know the president has always said, and I want to big up the Bob Marley Foundation for the logistical support that was given up there in terms of the travel, carrying up the kit man, and also for Rohan Morgan, that is works with Sheffield United, who helped us organize the transportation, the buses and things. So it was a real team effort, and things gelled together well up there.
Just run because somebody told me that it was Dean Burton.
No,
No. So that's
no,
Ron Morgan.
Yeah, it was the one who organized the transportation with the buses.
Dean Burton was actually at the game, but Ron was responsible for.
So how did Dean Burton name get called into transporting?
Well, Mannings, man, how? I mean, a lot of things are said. I mean, we hear that the under-20 girls their flight got delayed, which was the farthest from the truth. They went on the time schedule because it was a charter. We hear that the under-20 girls, when they got
from the
airport to the hotel, So one.
The flight was. Are you saying that the flight You're saying that Dean Burton had nothing to do with any transportation. It was Morgan.
No, it was Morgan.
Nothing at all. The only thing we knew, and in fact, we went to the Leicester City. Who was it again?
We went to the game against Bournemouth. Yeah.
Bournemouth, and it was at the game the day before our game that Burton knew of us being there. And so he, of course, came to the game and was very much a part of our contingent, but had absolutely nothing at all to do with any aspects of the arrangement. None at all.
All right. So all right. And then he also said that the Reggae girls, their flight was not delayed because I understood that they traveled on a chartered flight.
Right. So what was the thing, Mannings, man? And this is how people get the thing wrong. Originally, they were going to go on a commercial flight on the Wednesday, right? And you know how it is traveling commercial. It's really tiring. So the idea was to go on the Wednesday, and then you get a day or two to recover from that. But since we decided that we're going to send them on a charter, because it was actually working out better for us from a logistics point of view, the coach and everybody decided, okay, we'll just leave the Thursday then, right? And you see, it didn't affect their performance, right? Because it was like a domino game when they were finished, right? And that is what happened. So when people say it was delayed, there was no delay. It's just that because we moved to a charter, they say, okay, let us leave the Thursday instead, right? And,
so you got there the Thursday.
It was a very conscious decision. It's a decision that we collectively made. That instead of going Wednesday, we just go charter and go straight in on Thursday.
All right.
So and Mannings, man, I just want to say, it's a blessing in disguise that we chose to go charter, because instead of the Fort Lauderdale airport flood out.
So it would have been delayed if you had
that sounds like divine intervention, brother.
All right. So let me ask you the other things. So when they got there, they didn't have to walk from the airport to the hotel.
No,
rubbish. Absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, as a director put in the group when a question was asked, he said the drive, and he put drive in bold and caps, was 22.5 minutes.
So to walk that would take us maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, was 22.5 minutes.
There is no truth to that. Absolutely none. And we want to make it very clear that was not so. Wasn't even close to being so. Because when I got in contact with the HOD, she said that the bus was at the step of the aircraft, and they went straight from the aircraft into the bus, straight to the hotel.
All right.
They did the passport check on the ground, and they went straight from the aircraft into the bus, straight to the hotel.
All right.
So
Yeah,
not true.
nothing from that. All right. So I'm glad that those things are cleared up. So let me ask now, because um that has happened. I'm glad that that has been resolved, because that is good. But you also had, I think you also had your board meeting, your regular board meeting recently. The CASAFA president came out, right? I think it was on one of the TV station, and he said that there is FIFA had sent a consultant in the accounts department of the JFF. Now, when he spoke, I got, if you're unaware, you would think like that this is something that just happened. All right. So the person made mention of FIFA sending the consultant because things are not going well with the leadership. And so he also went on to say the entire board, right, and the entire body of the JFF must be, all
Yeah,
of you must be removed.
Mannings man. So
I'm asking the question. So I want to
yeah,
ask
no,
you, what are your thoughts on those things? Go ahead.
but you want to go first, Brady, or you want to go first?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
So Mannings man, I think it wasn't the president of CASAF, it was Carvel Stewart, right?
Yeah, but well, you call the name, you see, because my bank account was so big, you
No,
understand me?
but it was on the ear. It was on the ear. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because
Yeah,
as
but
someone sent me the
the
video.
president is a Mark Bennett also,
Yeah. Oh, he
who
said,
added
yeah.
to the whole conversation as well. Yeah.
All right. So I think that the way that people are making it look, because it is sort of disingenuous. Let me tell you why. Number one is that all board members would have been aware that from last year we were talking to FIFA, even before I became GenSec, after when we went up to a meeting about them sending someone to assist us with the financial governance policies and procedures, right? And in fact, when we went up, Prezi, in October, we had discussed that and said, we would welcome that assistance, right? The other thing, though, so all board members, including, remember, all parishes make up the board, would have been aware of that situation from that time. So they were supposed to send the person from last year for us, right? And we continued the discussions this year. And then, in our meeting with FIFA governance, we say, hey, they say, boy, they're ready to send the person. No, when do we want them to come? Do we want them to come in a month time or so? And this is before when we were going to Kigali. And myself and the president said, no, send them next week, even though we're not going to be here, so that they could start the process. So they actually came and started the week when we went away, right? And we said, don't send them. No, for me, it is something that is good from a support point of view, because
Hold on, let me get this clear, Mr. Let me get this clear, because I have to pardon the interruption. So it was you're saying to me that it was a JFF who made a request
well,
for
we had a discussion
with FIFA.
with FIFA last year, right?
Yeah.
And they said that they could provide someone to assist us, in terms of support to help with everything. That was a discussion, and this was in October when I went up with the president to a seminar, a FIFA and CONCACAF seminar, and we had the discussion with them, because they discussed with all the MAs when they were there, right? They meet with all the MAs.
That is probably because of where the JFF was financially, because they would only suggest assistance if they think like things are not where they should be, or they could be better. Because why would they even ask to assist if everything
Yeah,
was
there's no question about
Yeah,
it, and they would offer assistance in any area that you seem
yeah,
deficient. And of course, we were struggling, and we had open discussions, and in fact, like Dennis said, they met with each country and looked at what your deficiencies may be and offer support. And we gleefully accepted because we knew we wanted help. So we continued the discussion, and we continue to say to them, yes, we need help. So send us help in this particular department. So we ended up having a
Yeah, yeah.
consultant. There's no secret about it. And he's here to help.
How were the board, are the board members aware?
Yeah, man. Hey, what you mean? Yes.
Is CASAFA part of the board?
Yeah, yeah, every parish is a part of the board. And
Why I ask that is because the previous president of CASAFA walked away. So it is a new president a part of the board?
Yes, man, absolutely.
every president is a part of the
The
board.
moment you become a president, you qualify to be a director.
Yeah.
So of course he was, and it's just simply unfortunate. And CASAFA ought to by now understand that they're a part of the JFF, and the JFF are the regulators, not CASAFA. So CASAFA must understand that they must fall in line and show the level of respect that is due to the JFF. I mean, we don't treat CASAFA like they treat us. They are a member association, and we treat them with respect, and we try to help them.
I am trying to.
We would never go public and make derogatory comments about CASAFA, and yet they continue to do this.
What I'm trying to understand is how the board is aware of this, and then members of the board are acting surprised about it. So to me, it's like, were they not at the board meeting?
Management, I can't speak with that. The president can't speak to that, because that's a board thing, right? But what I can say is this: I am very happy that the gentleman is here, because I could not afford to pay someone like that to help me. And if everybody wants to pay somebody like that to help me, I would gladly welcome it.
All right.
You understand?
I think Kronke wants to chime in. Kronke?
Yeah, man, Kronke has been extremely quiet.
Sometimes it's good to listen. You learn much more by listening than speaking. So there are a number of questions that arises when one talks about someone volunteering to help, because I've always heard through a number of different avenues, including for the presidents of these parish organizations, that we have the requisite competence, capabilities, abilities, expertise within our football community to address most things. So what were the differences? Because this should be expounded upon. We have a lot of dialogue around it, which is what were those significant deficiencies that FIFA identified, I assume through dialogue with the organization, that lends itself to them to say, well, you need to have consultation or a consultant coming to assess your organization. And the question is, what are they assessing? Because there's sort of 4 pillars that inform a football program. So what are they assessing?
So let me tell you something. For every single organization across the world, FIFA does an audit every year, a central review audit, right? So this is not anything strange. They do an audit every year. Coming out of the audits, they identify areas that an association might need improvement on. One of the things that FIFA does with all of that is that they will have discussions with you coming out of that central review audit and say, hey, these are areas of deficiency. Where would you like assistance, right? And that sort of discussion happens, right? Coming out of our central review audit, there were certain deficiencies in terms of policies, procedures, and also to enhance the financial governance. Because remember now that FIFA and with its financial governance is getting a lot stricter. Right, we're talking about now money just coming based on projects, right? And certain policies are put in place across the globe. For example, travel policies and that sort of thing. So we would have recognized that there are some deficiencies there. And the fact of the matter is that JFF does not have the capacity to hire people at that level. right? So we are always going to go in terms of the governance issues. We speak to FIFA. FIFA assists us with a lot of things, right? And CONCACAF also. Just recently, we had representatives from CONCACAF coming here to help us with an executive management program. So those things happen. So it is really coming out of the central review audit and identifying, based on our annual audits that's done every year, and I think another one is happening right now as we speak. And they would look at it and they would say, hey, we've reviewed all your documentation, we've looked at all your processes, and in terms of the alignment of where FIFA wants to go and the accountability that we need, we think these are deficiencies. And they would say, boy, we can offer this assistance. And we said, hey, that's something we welcome, because I don't know anybody in our business who's going to turn down somebody paying for somebody to come help them.
Right, but let me ask this question, because I think part of what Kronke was alluding to is what I'd love to ask, because one, you know this, and I think the president know this as well. If you have the right policies and the wrong people, you're going to go back to the same bad results.
Yes.
So now, if there was the competence level, and there were deficiencies, that was a term that was used. There were deficiencies, right? And you put the right policy in place. Is it also important that you vet the people to ensure that they can live up to the policy expectation, so these deficiencies are eliminated or minimized? And how does that?
You are indeed correct. You are indeed correct. That is being done as we speak. We will definitely be making changes. And what Dennis did say is that this is nothing new. It happens around the world, where CONCACAF and FIFA give support in areas that any member association may be weak, whether it be technical, whether it be refereeing, whether it be administration, whether it be finances. FIFA offers this kind of a support. And like Dennis said, we just had some reps from CONCACAF who was here for, I think, 3 days, just helping with how to manage and what your roles are, your portfolio responsibilities. So it's nothing really new. And we want to reiterate that we welcome any such initiative.
I like the direction, Kronke, I'm going to let you come in because you're muted, Kronke. I'd love to know, because we and maybe, I don't know if it's for general. Kronke, you're muted. Let me just say.
Sorry, Mannings, man.
Listen, you got the internet from Elon Musk. You're muted again, Kronke. I don't know what's going on. You're using Elon Musk internet, man. You need.
So something is happening to my computer this evening. So Dennis, I have a follow-up question. I thought you said this audit was annual. Is it annual from FIFA?
Yeah, we have a central review audit. Yeah, that happens annually with FIFA.
So if it's annual, is it they just identifying these things new? Because it's annual, should have been identified years ago, some of these challenges or deficiencies, right?
Deficiencies are identified every year, I don't know any organization that's perfect. So my
point though. Are these different deficiencies are identified, or the same one year after year after year? Because these seem like, from what I'm gathering from you, there's like fundamental, key, foundational items that have been identified, not peripheral things or things which are
no. I mean there are certain just like an annual audit that a company does when the auditor issues their management letter, they would identify things and place risk ratings on them. And say, hey, these are fundamental things that you need to look at. And they identify other things. There were some things that we deemed fundamental, and from year to year, things will come up. And we just said, I think what happened is that, if you identify for 2 years running or 3 years running, you have some deficiencies, then at that point you say, we need to fix this policy or we need to fix this procedure, because one of the things you want to see. So, the report coming out of that would be like a management letter coming out of an annual audit, right? You go through it and you say, these are areas that keep recurring, so I need assistance here, right? And you drill down on those things. So, the consultant would have come and is focusing on certain areas, there are certain specific areas they're looking at.
As a chairman of the finance committee, because prior to being the GenSec, I think, you can correct me if my timeline is wrong. It was leading up to 2 years that you were the head of the the chairman of the finance committee. So that is it. Leading up to that, so as the head of the chairman of the finance committee, did you identify these issues? Man.
Those issues would have come up. Those issues would have come up.
Okay. Which is what he's saying. So if those issues came up, were there measures put in place from the moment that they were identified to fix them, or no?
Yes, measures were put in place. In fact, when we went up to meet with FIFA last October, they did express to the president that they were satisfied with the improvements that were happening at the federation. And based on that, we had certain discussions about what needed to be done because they saw improvements to items that were identified in the central audit review was being cleared up. So we identified those. You can
say to the people that are obvious, probably that would have been out there. If you can't, that's okay. But is there any one thing you can say? All right, here is one thing that have changed because
I'll just give you two, which is like timeliness of reporting and ensuring that all the major expenditures have documents attached to them.
Procurement policies, Dennis.
And procurement, because we did put a procurement policy in place last year also, December, based on FIFA recommendation.
So based on, you have to understand, you have to explain procurement for in layman ways, because some people, they hear procurement and, they think acupuncture or something.
I thought it was in politics in the government all the time. Isn't that a normal thing in Jamaica in terms of your politics?
Just let people know.
Work, it's pervasive across the environment we operate. Anyway, go ahead.
Stuff like that. But the point is that all right. So there is a FIFA policy in terms of procurement, in terms of how you go about the JFF doing things. All right? Are these documents like open for persons to see? Are they a private document for the GFF? Are they a part of what will be on your website in terms of how the strategic system and operational procedures?
No, those wouldn't be public, but we do publish the annual report every year, right? So you mean the policies itself? The policies itself, in terms of the policies, can be published. So the Constitution is out there. You'd have seen in the last GenSec report that was sent out, we sent out the Constitution. So the Constitution is known, and the Constitution will be something that's filed with respective offices, public offices, and the audited statement we present it every year. So
was it debt
reduction? So go ahead, Mannings, man. Go ahead.
Was the debt reduction also a part of what they would have recommended? Because I know, I think when the president became the president, the debt was close to 300 million. I'm not sure that the president can answer. So was that part of it? Like, listen, over this time, certain amount of money must be given toward, paying off the debt, and has that been done?
The president can speak to that, but the fact of the matter is that wasn't a direct recommendation. Of course, we spoke about, deficits is somewhere I was concerned about. But at the board meeting yesterday, the president said, had a plan that there are a certain amount of debt reduction need to happen every year, just like we have with the government doing with the fiscal accounts. And the president can speak to that and say, this is the direction that we need to move in terms of debt reduction over the next 3 to 4 years.
All right, so Mr. President, you can. I don't know if it's a private matter, if you can speak to that in terms of what by when you love to see this debt.
What happened, and we have committed to our parent organizations that we will provide and present a plan that will reduce our deficit within the next 4 years. That plan certainly will be forthcoming very soon. We would have looked at it from the surface, but logistically we'll put things in place to ensure that it is ready, presented to the consultant, sent to FIFA, And then that will be a guideline as to how we're going to reduce our debts. And
So we
it's
can say
workable, I can
four,
assure you.
in 4 years, we can say if all things goes to plan, the JFF will be debt free.
And I want to say so for sure.
All
I
right.
want to say
I
so.
am sure that will be debt free. But I mean,
I am sure.
I am sure. All right. What
Yeah, we're definitely working on that. And seriously, that's one of our major concerns. And yesterday at our board meeting, that was very topical to ensure that we produce a plan that over 4 years would reduce our deficit, if not in total, significantly. But we really want to, in 4 years, be debt free.
what is the estimated amount of the debt now? I don't know if you have the exact figure, but what are we talking about in terms of reality, in terms of where we are at?
Last year, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's about $250 million now. 'Cause we had done some reductions on it, and we have. I mean, the person in the accounts department will tell you that right now we're in a position where we're doing much better. We're actually paying down the past debt, and also for current expenditure, we're not. We're in the majority case not incurring anything new, right? So once we incur things, we're paying them off, and also we have a program to pay down the past ones, and that's what we're doing.
But that is good. It is. I think it is good, and like that we're hearing this because we heard it was over 300 or close to 300. Now it is at 250. So there, some has been shaved off it, and so that is a good thing. I know Kronke had something, and Neo is our resident attorney on these platforms. He's the one who always help us on the legal matters. So he has joined. But Kronke had a follow-up question for you.
Well, I have a bunch of questions, actually. There are a lot of them, so I got to be very careful. Here's my question, which is, I want to go more tactical and operational versus strategic. Because part of my concern is we say we get these audits done, we have recurring situations, and if you don't fix those things, they just get worse and worse and worse. And operationally, to me, from on the outside, not having all the facts, it seems like we have significant challenge in terms of how we operate fundamentally. What auditors don't do is audit most times people. Your most important asset is your people, not your product per se. So your product, maybe your people, maybe your product, not necessarily the funding you have as the people. You don't have the right people in place, you can't really operate with excellence. So the question is, and I've heard some of the individuals from our parish who have been in their position for 10, 15 years, and they're asking programs what they've accomplished, and we hear the accomplishment don't align with their tenure. And I've known a lot of those individuals on your boards. So how do we get refreshing of people in your organization if the people in place don't seem to have the capability, whether it's capability, desire, time, to execute their mandate? Because we can keep changing all we want to do in change processes. The policies go on the shelf, people don't adhere to them. And frankly, if you don't have the right people in place, you will never make progress. So Dennis is new in his role, obviously, and seems to have a lot of expertise, whether it's in the corporate environment, and now translating that and some of how we operate in that environment to this environment. What are we doing to change the people? Because frankly, from where I sit, that's the fundamental core root cause of our major problems that we have in our organization.
President, you want to
if I may respond, Kronke, I think you're correct. Even our staff members, and we have issues with incompetent staff members as well. But it is extremely challenging when you're a parish president and you don't have the resources. And I am absolutely sure that if we were able, and I said it in the board meeting yesterday, that we have engaged an agent to help us to find a overseas sponsor that will sponsor all the parishes. And he will be working assiduously because that's so very important. With the requisite resources, we can achieve a lot. Our youth programs have suffered over the last few years. I remember when I was parish president for Clarendon, we had a very, very robust and vibrant youth program because we had a sponsor in Juicy Patties that works so very closely with us as a parish. And we were able to produce good young players that matriculated into senior positions with most, if not all, our senior men's team and women's team as well. So, sorry, the real challenge is resources or the lack of it. Uh, Infrastructure is another problem. And Dennis and I have been having discussions in this regard. How are we going to improve the infrastructure going around the country? And we have come up with a plan that we're going to meet with the different municipalities and see how best they could help us to identify one venue and to help us to maintain that particular venue. But the truth is that we really are short on resources, hence sometimes the stagnation of some of our programs. But things, this JFF would have disbursed millions of dollars to the respective parish associations. And we want to ensure that we give as much support as we can to ensure that the development, talent identification, and grassroots be given some very, very serious attention.
Mr. President, one follow-up. I'm sorry, Mr. President, and that's one resources issue. My last question, and I'll see the floor, which is, there is skepticism in our community when it comes to funding in Jamaica in general. Let's be frank, right? Our resources are utilized by any organization. And it manifests itself in the parishes also, which is, if I give you funding, can I get accountability to say those funding will be spent for their intended purposes? Do we have mechanism in place and process to make sure we can substantiate how those resources were expended? Because that is fundamental to how people will get, you will get sponsorship, you will get comfort that the money can be utilized for what they're intended for. If not, you will struggle to move your programs forward, to get in the intended resources, if people don't have the comfort that the resource is going to be expended for the intended purpose.
Yeah, so Kronke, let me answer it this way. I think that in terms of the accountability from the parishes, I think that we have seen a good job, certainly at the JFF point of view. So I don't think it would be any different, right? I think that based on the discussions and what we've seen in terms of what they've done with the money, I think that we have seen that accountability, right? The truth is that, I mean, especially coming out of the pandemic, we are not a country that had a lot of sponsorship going to communities and teams. And the fact of the matter is that I think that what we have managed to do as a country with the sponsorship that we have got and the funding, the resources, is actually, I think we've done well. I mean, if you look at the fact that we have a lot of players who have gone overseas, right? And Jamaica, I think, has one of the most talents that are out there, right? I think that if we measure it from that standpoint, all of these players are coming through parishes and parish competitions, you know, and to have these competitions, to put them on is not cheap. So I know personally that some of the parish associations, the persons and the executives actually go into their own pockets, right, to fund some of these programs, because the truth is that the resources that even we give them and they get from sponsorship cannot do, right, for the programs that are put on, right?
Let me say this, let me say this, Mr. Chung. I think we will all admit that, because Kronke made a fundamental point, that the truth is, and you know this, in the corporate world, transparency and accountability is the best way to get the resources. So is it that we need to, because what I'm hearing is that if we get more resources, then you'll see accountability, you'll see transparency. All right, so let me
No,
take
no,
you to
no.
my question.
I'm not saying it's not the resources alone, you know. And one
Yes.
of the discussions that we've been having with the parishes is also how we, as the president alluded to it, can mobilize to assist with that also, in terms of getting that greater accountability from a point of view of documentation and that sort of thing. So it's a work in progress. I mean, the truth is that when you look at football in Jamaica, and I mean, the president can speak to it much more than me because I've just been in this thing for 2.5 years. The fact is that sports in general, right, and we see it now in football and track and field, has never been organized in many respects as a business. So we've never really had in sports a lot of professionalism coming into it. But it's just recently, Prezi.
And I tell you, and I want you to make note of this, gentlemen. Football is the only sporting entity that runs a fully professional league. The only
Yeah,
sporting entity in this
only
country.
one.
All right.
Football is the only sport that owns its own office space. Football is the only sport that owns its own dormitory with IT facility, cooking facility, and two playing surfaces. The only sport.
All
So
right.
we, and I've always said, and I want to reiterate, that this JFF is intent on getting things right.
I
This
think,
JFF, this
yeah,
JFF is
yeah,
intent,
and
of
and
course, on ensuring that we touch the very social fabric of every little boy and every little girl in this country.
all right.
We
So
must play
Mr.
a major role
President.
in
hold on, Frank. Let
nation
me just
building.
Frank. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me. I'm going to let Cranky come in, but I think what we don't want, because while we can agree with that, I'm going to give you examples of what we are seeing. There were some issues, for example, that was played out on the public media with with the Hanover FA. Recently, there was an issue played out in the public with Westmoreland FA, where one party said, we used to be friends because we used to cook up thing at election time. That's in the part that was publicly said. All right. Now, when persons hear that, then it makes it hard for them to trust that with more resources, the personnel in place can do the work. I think so. While we agree that there are things happening, and if resources are pumped into football, we'll see the results. The other part of the equation is, are the persons who are presently occupying the spaces the persons who, if they get the resources, they can do it. So, for example, and then I'm going to let Neil come in. This is something that we have here that we want to ask: is if the JFF has a governance policy for parish FAs, and if there is a grievance board within the JFF for parish members to have their grievances against parish presidents who are, they believe, abusing their position, and what are the sanctions for those things? Right? And are the whistleblowers in the parish FAs protected under the JFF Whistleblower Act? Because there may be things happening in a parish that somebody want to talk about, but they know if they come out and talk about it, the president of the parish may sabotage their team. So these are policy issues that people are talking about. It's not so much the resources, because what I know is this: um, if you are faithful with the small things, you'll be given much. If you can't manage the little you have now, I don't think if I give you more, you're gonna manage it any better. So is there an evaluation of the competence level of the parish association to see if they have been managing? Because what we may need, my suggestion is that what we may need is like what is happening at the head office of the JFF, where competent people who are not parish presidents are being included to drive the process. Maybe in the parishes, the JFF, like how FIFA has brought in someone, needs someone to drive the policies, because as much as they are sacrificing, they may not have the requisite skills, maybe not all of them, to do what needs to be done with the resources. I think that is the issue that Kronke is kind of going towards the personnel and not necessarily the resources.
Right. And what you have just said, Mannings man, is profound. And I thought how valuable what you have just said is. And this is why I continue to say that we have an open door policy and people can always come in and sit with us and share your thoughts, share your ideas. Give us an opportunity to listen to someone who really has the interest of football and the interest of the nation at heart. Because what you have just said really, really resonates very well with me. But at the same time, we can't act on what social media says. We don't have a formal complaint. We can't just listen to people on social media and act on that. We want to ensure that it's best practices. And we never ever going to get it perfect. But it has to be best practices. And these two gentlemen who are on the platform now, I would encourage you to let us talk again, because obviously you have the sport, the interest of the sport at heart, and we really would welcome a sit down. I don't know if you're based here or overseas, but we would welcome a sit down and have a fulsome discussion, and you try to help us to guide the process going forward.
Yeah. So, management, let me answer also just to support what President said, right? So, I grew up in a country where people are innocent until proven guilty. We tend to, on social media, adopt a policy of guilty until proven innocent, right? Anybody, and this is
Yeah,
one
man,
of the
I don't like when it's
but
social media.
it's true.
I think I prefer it's in media.
Hold on, management, right?
Because right now
Management, hold on. Let me just finish, right?
Yeah.
So the president spoke to a truism, right? The fact of the matter is that one of the problems and also one of the good things about democracy is that everybody can have an opinion and everybody can allege whatever they want to allege. And there are a lot of people who call me in the days, right? From referees, parishes, and all of those things, and said, this is happening. You know what I said to the Mannings man? Put it in writing to me. Because as the president says, unless we get it in writing, then we can't say it is a formal complaint. Because when you tell somebody to put something in writing and they fail to do it, why do I think they fail to do it? They don't want to commit themselves in a document. If you have a legitimate complaint, commit it in a document to us, and then we can act on it. Right? That is what people should do.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Dennis, in a lot of corporations, Dennis, they have different avenues for one to provide complaints. A number of instances, though there are anonymous ways of doing so, because people are concerned about retaliation. So one should not discount an anonymous way of receiving a complaint. What normally happens is the corporation will investigate the complaint and figure out if there's any truth to that complaint. Someone will have to put their name to a complaint in a lot of instances in the corporate environment. And I think you know this. It's anonymous because people don't want retaliation.
Anonymous doesn't mean that you don't put it in writing. You can send something in writing anonymously. But when you call in and say something,
when you say put in writing, I'm thinking you're saying put in writing and put your name to it.
No. Put a document. Not just write something. Not just call and talk about something. Because when I go and investigate something, and it's a verbal conversation, I don't have the evidence on which to investigate it.
But who do, Mr. Chung? What the question is that what is because these things must be governed by policy. So I should know, for example, if I'm in St. Anne I should know if I have a grouse or grievance against the FA president. What is the policy? Where do I write? Who do I address it to? Like, is this has to be clear policy so people know, because that way there is an accountability. And I think because, and I'm not accusing anyone, I'm not accusing and saying it is so, because even if it is not so, people must feel like if they believe that they have been treated unfairly, there is an avenue to state how they feel, and then they are told it is not so. And that must be, and you did something great recently where you have I think it's a sexual harassment policy that you did. I'm not sure if that is the exact name, because that is
Yes.
important, because people need to know if it happens, here are the avenues, and it is in a policy document. And I think that's what we're asking: what are the policy document that governs the 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 parish presidents?
Where would they submit that writing, Mr. Chung? Would they
Yeah,
have to come into the office to submit it?
They can send it in by email.
They can
Right.
send it to you by
Yeah.
email. Send it to you by email.
Which those things do happen. I do get complaints from time to time by email. So I mean, this is something that the president has said that he wants to extend that sort of thing. Because we have just developed our whistleblower and sexual harassment policy. But President, you can speak to that in terms of your intention.
But can I just ask before the president answers, Mr. Chung, the sexual harassment and whistleblower policy, right? This is something that has already been implemented, or is it something that you guys are?
They have been implemented.
It has been implemented. Okay,
Yeah.
and so and this whistleblower policy, would this give people who have grievances the ability to maybe make a complaint anonymously to you?
Yes. We have an established body that it can be a few avenues it can be sent into.
Okay, and so is there a way for that to be made public? I mean, I don't get the impression
the document,
not the document, but the process by which people are able to submit these complaints, because
the policy was made public,
Well, because here's my concern, because there are people in the parish who may have one complaint or the other, but their connection with the JFF is the PA president, right?
Yeah.
And if they're having a problem with the PA president, they certainly don't want to make that complaint to that person for fear of.
But that is not the experience, The experience, and president can speak to it, is that people have, when they have a issue, they complain about it, right, President?
Right. So my suggestion is for there to be at every parish association office, or some, every team who is registered and playing in a competition, to receive something, some paper or something telling them what the process is to submit the complaint in the manner, you said that you would like.
But as I indicated, the policy has been made public. I mean, what we need, what we do is just continue the education.
Even
but it is a public document.
Right, and I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that there's a problem if people don't know how to submit the complaint. That's all. That's my But just to
life is very unfair and unfortunate. Having been a parish president myself, I am very aware of the number of times that I have to go in my pocket to send kids to school, to take them to training, to provide financial support for their siblings, for their parents. And how many of these kids really come out to say that I really want to say thanks to my primary school coach or my parish president, who really would have given me so much support? I mean, this happens on a daily basis where parish presidents, I recall an incident which sticks indelibly in my mind. We played a game in Clarendon some years ago, maybe decades ago. And the gentleman who was in charge of the youngsters, I saw him go in his pocket and he emptied every single pocket that was available on the apparel that he wore. And I walked up to him and I said, Plumber, so when you give away all the money, how you get home? And you know what he said to me? He said that somebody will know me and take me home. Nobody knows these little kids. And that is the level of commitment that we get from some of our parish presidents. But nobody ever seemed to come out and comment. We're always been torn down. We've always been disrespected. I mean, when I look at some of the social media comments and probably by extension, regular media comments, they are so unfair. But like I've always said, and I want to continue saying it, I'm going to say it for the umpteenth time, we want to change the face of the sport. We want to ensure that we touch the psyche. We must ensure that the social well-being of every single boy and girl gets some attention through football. And I want to ask of corporate Jamaica, ask of those in the diaspora to just help us. Just help us to build this nation of ours through
This is what the
the sport of
conversation is
football.
about. The conversation is building a better pathway. But I have to say this though. There are some teachers who sacrifice for me, and I love them. I may not have come out publicly yet and say, boy, Miss Vassell, who used to teach at Mannings, and Miss Monroe, Mrs. Monroe, and stuff, right? However, I will say this. Um, because teaching has changed, what is required now is different now. So, though you have made some commitment and you are committed to it, it doesn't mean that if I ask a change, that's a disrespect. So sometimes we believe that if someone says we need a change of personnel because this person,
No, I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that. I
people
would
are
be foolhardy to think that way
here because
because
my,
the most consistent thing in life is change.
yeah, what I feel, but I personally feel like a lot of the parish presidents, when they hear people crying out for change, it is because they think people don't know that they have sacrificed. We know that they have sacrificed. What we are saying though is that for a lot of the people, when they look at what is happening in their particular parish, a lot of persons believe it has been the same person at the helm and much has not changed. And all they are saying is that just maybe if someone else came on, then change will happen. It may not work, so you know. But all I'm saying
Yeah,
is that it doesn't necessarily mean that when they see the person, they disrespect them. Because the truth is, a lot of these people who come on these platforms, the Jamaicans, they talk to their parish presidents at the games, at the corner league games, the Division One games, the Major League games. They also play. What they're saying is that, boy, it is 20 years this person has been leading the parish. And in the 20 years, we have not had one team from the parish playing in the highest league. Give somebody else a chance. And that is
yeah, that's
Can I
fair.
add
That's
something?
fair. I wouldn't have any difficulty with that for sure. That's fair.
Can I
Yeah,
just add something? Okay.
but the thing is that, in terms of who is elected president to a parish, JFF have nothing to do with that. It is the constituents within that parish who elect them.
which is where now
So,
I blame the people because the same people who come on these platforms
Here's a solution to that, though. Now,
are the same people who vote
can I just add something?
Well,
No, I mean, I heard the president and Mr. Chung both talking about the democratization of the JFF, and I want to congratulate you guys because I think we're in a much different place than we were when I first started to appear on some of these shows talking about the JFF. I want to congratulate you guys about all the improvements that have taken place. I
thank you, sir.
myself,
Thank you.
I
And
myself,
like I say, and I want to say it again. If you care to make an appointment, come with some ideas. Um, if you want to be critical and be respectfully doing so, we have no issues at all.
right. So
Let's sit down and let's have a talk.
in that spirit, let me offer an alternative, right? So one of the things, Mr. Chung, I didn't send you the copy of my proposed constitution because I was aware that you guys are doing your own, and I wanted all of that dust to settle before. I wanted to give you guys some room and some space to do what you're doing, right? But we're still here, still watching, still hoping to, make, affect the change in a positive way. But one of the positive things I believe is, I wonder, if you guys could introduce the idea of term limits, right? Because of course,
No, you don't even have to say another word. That's definitely a part of the new constitution.
That's a part of it already.
okay, because certainly, as far as, no disrespect to any of the Parish Association presidents or to the president or Mr. Chung, but every institution needs to renew itself, and
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
once you're in power, it's a hard thing to give up. So as far as people re-electing people in the parishes over and over again, that may very well be. But if there were term limits, then perhaps it would force.
Yeah.
So
understand. Yeah. So I mean, understand that the parishes have different constitutions from us, though.
They do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was not aware of that. So it is not. They don't operate by the constitution that the JFF has. I mean, we're in
the process of getting everybody to copy the JFF's constitution, because
go ahead.
That is definitely a part of the plan going forward, that all parishes' constitution must be very much in line with that of the JFF.
Right, but in order for them to participate and be a member of the JFF, don't they have to abide by the JFF's constitution?
By their own constitution.
Yeah,
constitution of the parish.
They have their constitution at the local level. But what we're trying to do is trying to make everything uniform.
Hold on, you're saying that parishes have their own constitution?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I need to check out the constitution.
Is the constitution subservient to the JFF's constitution?
Well, it had to be in some aspects, yes.
I've read the constitution, the JFF's constitution, several times.
The new one?
Yeah, yes, the work in progress, I have been able to see it too, right? But what I will say is that I've never actually seen any reference to the Parish Association president Hanford. I mean, the Parish Associations having their own constitution, A, and B, it's my understanding that, in order for them for any entity, including the Parish Associations, I mean, the Parish Associations make up the JFF. So for them to have their own constitution, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
For example, elections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Parishes were allowed, based on their own constitution, to have elections when they would have constructed and how they would have constructed their constitution. Now we have changed that. Every parish association must have their election within 90 days of that of the JFF. So parishes must now have their elections no longer than 90 days after that of the JFF. That's one change.
So I would assume that FIFA assesses the adequacy of the JFF's constitution. Who assesses the adequacy of the parish's constitution?
Well, the president just spoke to the fact that we are actually working with the parishes to make the changes. So, I mean, the assessment would obviously be done by JFF, but it is a work in progress. We have FIFA
was very, very integral in the construction of our new constitution. In fact, we would have had a number of meetings with them. We to and fro in relation to exchanging ideas until there was a consensus. So, having gone through all of that process, I think it's very important that we upgrade, for want of a better word, the constitution of the parish associations.
Yeah, wouldn't it be?
But are they mandated to follow what you're suggesting, or is it optional on their part? Because I know, not to bring their arms in public, but CASAFA has a contentious relationship with the JFF. So can you mandate that CASAFA's constitution aligns with the JFF's constitution and has to be normalized, similar, whatever word you want to use to say that they need to align? How does that work if they are not if the affiliation doesn't work well, if there's contentious relationship between the two, can you mandate that they follow what you suggest, what you recommend, or what you mandate, frankly?
Based on what we have now, yes, because I'm pretty certain at the time is going to come that we will have to seriously have some discussions with and or put some sanctions in place.
So let me ask again, because what I'm trying to understand is that individual parishes, so there's no consistency. So what may apply in, say, Westmoreland may not apply in Hanover. It may not apply in St. James. It may not. So but so I'm trying
But
to understand
I
how
think,
does the
yeah, but
governance work?
and I think the president can speak to this because I wouldn't have known when it was set up initially. But they all have similar constitutions, so I think at the time that they were being set up, they would have adopted similar constitutions, right, President?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. They basically they are similar, not exactly so, but most things would be
That's what I
common
want.
amongst most of the
Okay, so
parishes.
all the parish associations have a similar constitution. Whatever is in those constitutions from the parishes, it comes into alignment with the big policy of the JFF.
Right. Can I chime in?
Go
Because
ahead.
I've read the Constitution, right? And
Yeah.
basically it is saying that there are basic rules that parish associations or any entity that wants to be a part of the JFF that they have to abide by. So the
Yeah.
JFF set the floor.
Framework.
Right.
Right.
They set the floor. So the parish associations cannot do anything less than the JFF would do, but they can do more. You
Right.
understand?
Right.
So it's almost like a federation, so to speak, right? The JFF is the central governing body. The parish associations are the satellites, and in order for them to continue to remain a part of the JFF, there are certain basic things that they have to do. But I've never seen a parish association's constitution, but from my reading of the JFF constitution, there are basic things that they have to do. If they fail to do, then they could be
Right.
sanctioned by
Yeah, there are member
Now, excuse me,
obligations.
gentlemen. May I ask the most recent speaker? Are you an attorney, sir?
Yes, Mr. Ricketts. Yes, sir.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Which makes it even more important that we have some discussions.
We have
Are
been
you
trying
based, are you based in Kingston, sir?
Mr. Ricketts, I am based in New York. In New
Oh,
York,
Lord.
right?
You know, Mr. President, it's 2023, Mr. President. Your physical location doesn't really mean anything anymore.
That's correct. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
Actually, did I say 22? I misspoke. I misspoke. What I'm trying to make is that, well, it's even more so that it's 2023, we're even further along, that physical location doesn't really matter anymore, as we're seeing in terms of us engaging, right? So
that's true. Yeah, that's true. But I'm very, very happy that we would have had two persons on the platform who seem to be quite knowledgeable about the sport and the
I don't really appreciate
intricacies.
those. I don't really appreciate
So,
those.
Mr. Mannings, man, I would really want to have some more discussion with you two gentlemen.
Hold on, Mr. President. We have to stop that. I have to correct that statement. You said that you are very happy that you have two persons on the panel.
you're right in your suggestion. We don't need any correction.
No, suggesting that. So I'd love for you to correct that. Sir. I also know this.
Well, I can speak of these two particular gentlemen with the highest level of authority, having had exchanges with them, and I'm convinced that they could help us.
Well, people, you have heard it, but right. But we can arrange it. But I know that Nia has been trying to help. I see Kyle is saying. I think Nia just explained it, Kyle. So there is no sanction in place at this moment for Parish FA to comply with the JFF mandates, right?
There's Article 60 of the Constitution.
Yeah. Member obligations.
Right.
Yeah.
And also there is a disciplinary and ethics committee.
Yeah.
So
And
yes,
there's a section on sanctions that's outlined.
Right.
yeah, yeah. Cranky, anything because I know you generally have and Neo, just go ahead because I know you guys normally. I know Neo, you had
No,
something.
I am going to come back to this whole thing. And look, the president has talked about this a while, right? My philosophy is this, Mannings, man. And I emphasize this 101 times, which is this. If I have a football team, I have 11 players, and they're not playing well, I'm not getting good outcome. But I change the left back to center half. I change the goalkeeper to right back. I'm probably going to get a worse situation than Mannings, man. I'm going to get better, you know. And that's why you hear me emphasizing people, and beating the thing to death. Because I do believe people may have the best intention. As the president said, they may contribute their own resources, their time. I think when the president talked about volunteerism and how that's regressing in the country. And I appreciate all of that. But there's nothing to equate for excellent. There's nothing to equate for intellectual capital. Forums like these or the internet and social media allows you to tap into that intellect across the globe. Before, you'd have to go to the library, go find something out. You can do it now and sitting at your desk. So we have to find a way to leverage all this intellectual capital we have across the globe. Those who want to contribute, bring, as the president alluded to, bring them into part of the dialogue. Get ideas not only from people on these forums, but from people in the commenters from different forums, right? I believe one of the best things to Jamaica, frankly, at least in football, is social media. Because to me, the traditional media can't spend 3-4 hours having this dialogue. They just can't. Having meaningful dialogue. They have to do snapshot because they have the advertisers, they got to satisfy their sponsors. We have a chance to have substantive discussion, dialogue, engagement in these forums and other forums to bring these things forward. Dennis has done a very, very good job since he's come on board to really disseminate the message of the JFF across the various communities which it wants to reach. My hope is that that get extended to the parishes, because frankly, I've heard some of these parish presidents, and they're not aligned and on board as they should be, frankly. Even with Dennis new in his role, because one of the president came on the other day, which I was very disturbed about, to say he was passive, I'm going to use my own term, paraphrase, in support for Dennis, which I found abhorrent because he's part of the board of the JFF. I've never heard a board bring an executive on board in their early tenure and say they're not fully supportive until things go otherwise. So I do think the alignment with the parish, the alignment amongst our community is an imperative. If we really want to, I don't want to preach here, but if we want to move the football forward, we need to have alignment. We need to have integration. We can't have disparate pieces going their own direction because you won't make the progress that you want to make.
Well, you know what I say, Kronke, and I didn't hear that comment, right? Because the truth is that I don't listen a lot to the programs. But what I would say, and the president can speak to this, is that I think that the board meeting yesterday showed that everyone seemed to be moving in the same direction, you know, and certainly was supportive of the things that we need to do. So, I mean, that's what I say. President, I mean, I think that's something for your level to comment on.
Yeah, we like you have said, Dennis, we had a good directors meeting yesterday. Long, extraordinary long. But we were seemingly on the same page. Sometimes we are based on democracy. Sometimes we belabor points. Sometimes we have major disagreements. But at the end of it, we must sometimes compromise our own position in support of what is correct. So we really are looking forward, and we're just very excited at the prospects, because having had a new sponsor, arguably one of the most colorful sports apparel manufacturers, we would have gone through a contract which certainly going to have positive implications on our football. We would have been in a most historic exercise, having qualified our 2 female teams consecutively. These are positives that we must make use of. And when I spoke with the minister today, she was super excited that she would have been the Minister of Sport with responsible for gender affairs, and having had two female global qualifications under her watch really excites her. We really want to get things right, gentlemen. And of course, there could very well be female listeners as well. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of commitment. It's going to take highest levels of loyalty. And of course, corporate Jamaica, those persons like you two gentlemen or you three gentlemen who
Thank you.
are very knowledgeable about the sport and can help us to craft a way forward. So again, I want to say thanks for your positive comments. I have no problem if you're being critical, as long as you are respectful in doing so. We just need to talk to some more people, get some more ideas, and we just need to put these plans in place so we can really have good and positive results.
Mr. President, we're very pleased. We're elated with the progress of the female team going to 2 World Cups, Mr. President. But as we know, as you talked about before, and Dennis talked about this, resources are imperative. And we know the men's team generate more resources. You may not like to hear this. When they go to World Cups, for example.
It does.
There is no, and I think we need more time, not in today, to talk about some of these things that informs the football program. Whether it's the product, which is the players, whether it's sponsorship, which is funding, whether it's media, executive body board. I think each of these pillars that inform the program need to be, I hope the audit by FIFA assesses each of these things individually and collectively to really think about, will we have a sustainable program which have the necessary components, ingredients, factors to allow it to be successful going forward. And also, more importantly, frankly, as I talked about 101 times, have the right people in the right seat doing the right thing.
Correct. We do have a very busy schedule from now to the end of the year. The Gold Cup starts on June 16 and goes to July 16. The World Cup starts, the Women's World Cup starts just about, I think, July 20. Then, of course, in September, we have the Olympic playoff, Canada and the Reggae Girls. So we really do have a package.
I'm planning my vacation around the Gold Cup, but if it's in a warm weather place, a nice place I want to visit. So if it's in Florida, I'm going. If it's not in Florida, I'm not going.
It will spread over 15 cities in the USA, and it starts on June.
Make a play. I don't care where it's Mr. President. I don't care if one play. I don't really care about the other team. Them. I want to go to Jamaica's play. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want to go to Jamaica's play.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Stennett, I really want to see what the under 20 girls are doing, sir.
I need you to just hold on for a couple of minutes because someone said the panel has allowed the JFF to avoid the question that Kronke has raised. Kronke. So I want to just ask Kronke, what question have you raised that you think you have not gotten an answer for? So
I can't recall it. I'm up there in age, so I don't have that that recollection that I need to have. So we've talked about a lot. I can't recall.
We're going to try and see. Neo, we're going to try to see if we can get you connected with the president. All right? But I think he has to leave. But Mr. Chung, Mr. President, are you still there?
I am still here, sir.
Yeah, so we're going to work out something with Neo. Neo was one of those persons who helped us with a lot of the B2 sports story and the whole Reggae Boys
the logo and
stuff. So very knowledgeable, former Woolmerian,
went to the wrong school, man.
That's why that man appears to be in darkness.
The president went to the wrong school too.
I went to the best, and I am sure that all would agree that the best school in Central Jamaica, a school at 10 Glenmuir Road, Maypen.
Oh, if it's in Central America, who could Central
Central America.
Nobody can argue. I'm glad that you put a caveat there. But Neo, so Mr. President says he's going to have to go. But Neo, what? Any you have any other
Yeah,
questions?
man. I just wanted to implore, Mr. Chung and the president, to continue, to try and make these positive change. But all I want to say is that Kronke has raised a very important point about personnel and having the personnel that is there who can deliver on the policy changes that you have made. Because if you put in a policy and the personnel is not up to the task,
Yeah.
it's not going to make a
Waste of time.
Right.
What I would say, is we recognize it, but as you can appreciate, personal issues are not issues that we really comment on.
I hear you, and I agree. I'm just saying that it's something to keep, in the back of the mind. I'm very excited. I think that we're on the cusp. If you guys get your act together with our support, listen, when the people on social media criticize, it is because we want better, and hopefully we'll provide that energy that will keep you guys on your toes, right? But all I would say is, so don't, there, of course, in any organization or any platform, you're going to have people who are, more excited or whatever than others and will say things. But, we are here, as media, as fans, as stakeholders, to try and propel the change in a positive way. So, so we're happy with the direction that we appear to be going in, and we want more, and we'll be supporting and demanding as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's refreshing, to say the least.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to run to, okay, I want to see the match, but what I would say is that, we're happy, and as the president said, criticism we think is good, and I've said that from day one, Mannings man, you know that, right? What is not good though is disrespect and saying something without evidence. So as I said, people throw things out there and some people run with it, and they don't even call myself or the president for confirmation, Somebody says something to them and they run with it, and I don't understand how someone thinks like that, because I would think that what you want to get at is the facts and the truth, and that is really the main issues I see. And we have always come out when something goes wrong and say, this has gone wrong and this is what we've done, or this is what we have not done. We've always done that. So there's no need for speculation, So, I don't understand why we don't get calls on something. Like, when you have the situation like someone, even on traditional media, coming out and saying the under-20 flight was delayed. No one called me, no one called the president, or saying that the girls had to walk from the airport to the hotel. No one called us. So how are you going to find out the truth if you don't call the persons who know the truth?
Yeah.
There's thanks. I suppose those closing remarks would represent both of us. But I just want to say, I feel refreshed. I feel like I have learned something from this platform. I feel like I am edified at the end of this exercise. And management, I'm going to task you with the responsibility of reconvening, whether it's going to be informally or formally, so we can continue this discussion. But I'm hoping that the girls will do a sprout. I really want them to qualify. Let's see what's happening with
Mr. Chung. I have to take this
management, what I say also is that the same person who came out and said,
Mr. Chung, you have to respond to this one. You have to respond to this one, though.
Which one is that?
It says, Mr. Chung, blink twice if the GFF is holding the hostage.
So if I blink 3 times, what that mean?
Yeah, the serious problem.
No, and I just want to say that, as a part of the disrespect also is that, and I heard it yesterday, and I don't hear, as I said, I don't hear it, but when people accuse people of stealing, without evidence, that's a serious thing, You know what I mean? And I heard that some people in the parishes were accused of that. Those are things we have to stop. We must disagree respectfully, and have comments respectfully when
Yes,
we talk.
I think though the host, because I mean the host is a very smart. The host did apologize and personally called and spoke to the person and apologized to him. And I was really upset about it, right? Because I said sometimes these things can have an implication. It is to say, I think like you can speak to a person action, but to blatantly call somebody say certain things can be.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's
it is
disrespectful, man.
yeah. And I'm saying fine, but the host, I have to big up the host of the program because he personally called the person. Because sometimes it's such a you also have to understand that the views that are expressed sometimes by the persons who call in, it's not like on TV where you have that little delay thing. Ours just come straight out. So sometimes we
Yeah,
can't stop it.
but when those things are done, Mannings, I'm not saying people won't do it, there
Yeah.
should be an immediate reprimand of the person who's saying it, because it's not good. I mean, we don't want to
True.
develop that sort of,
Yeah, because we want to have a dialogue, we know if that
yeah,
happens, you guys will not come on. But
yeah,
again, I must
yeah,
say this to the host. The host did stop it and say, listen, the coach, he said to the person he was talking to, stop and let the person respond because you just
okay,
said that.
okay,
I cannot allow you.
yeah,
So he did that. And then outside of that,
okay,
he
okay,
went
I
and
didn't hear it.
apologized. And the
Yeah,
truth is that there are persons in the comment section that say all kind of things.
yeah,
We have to
yeah.
ignore that because, yeah, that's it. But I do appreciate what you're saying, though, and I want to thank you for coming. And the people are asking that maybe it's not always on my platform, but at least there should be um, there should be an avenue where these kind of conversation, like the president said, can happen because it's a good way to discuss the football with
Yeah.
without any animosity, but seeking positive solution and hearing because sometimes we don't know. And the Jamaica, I said this to you before that our culture is filling in the blank. If we don't
Well, well,
know,
well, management, as you see, we're trying to resuscitate our YouTube channel. We did the broadcast of the girls' match on it. And we will be live streaming the World Cup Trophy Tour tomorrow also on our YouTube channel, right? So we're
okay,
creating more and more content to go up there, because we're definitely going to be doing a lot more with that channel.
okay,
And
awesome.
that's a way that we think we can engage people also. And also management. I mean, if people want to hear from us, myself and the president have always come on here, for example. Um,
Okay,
so,
and then when next you can see our reggae girls are because they're going away, our reggae boys.
what's that?
When next are we going to be able to see our reggae girls are our reggae boys?
The reggae girls
The
are trying to
girls
get
will be
here for
in
June.
action in June for sure.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Jamaica?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. The girls will be okay. All right. And the boys the next thing for the boys is at the Gold Cup.
Yeah, they're
Not
gonna have
really. We're
a game
looking
before
at having a game or two before, but more
that.
than
Right.
likely those will be overseas.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things I mean, just in closing, I'd love for you to go ahead is to put in place a policy as how we find out the players in England who have Jamaican connection and move from knowing to at least getting them their a Jamaican passport,
All,
those who
all
have
of that, all
Jamaican
of that, all of that is being done.
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can, from their young, we can have that. But I want to thank you. Right, and they're asking, why haven't we been seeing names in the jerseys for Jamaica so far in the new jerseys? None of the teams, the girls, the senior girls, the senior
All
men,
right.
the
The
under 20.
issue with that, right? And I mean, just to be transparent, is that we have not been receiving the full complement of the gear, so they come late. So by the time they come, I mean, certainly for the past two or three tournaments, is the day before departure that we're able to put on numbers, for example, right? Because they've
Okay.
been coming late. But we're talking to the person who is handling the deal for us, and we expect to get everything by the end of April, because it has been an issue for us. I mean, you'd have seen, for example, that at least one player recently was wearing a Nike headband, and the reason for that is because we didn't get the ones from Adidas on time. So, I mean, that is something that we're trying to remedy right now in terms of getting everything in.
All right. Awesome. Listen, I'm going to let you guys go because the game is just in the 18th minute. Is 0-0 between Jamaica and Bermuda, and yeah. So I'm going. I know you guys want to watch the game, so I'm going to release you. But again,
Okay,
thank you.
gentlemen. Thanks
Yeah,
for
man.
having us. We really appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Ricketts, I'll
Okay,
connect
mate.
Mr. Neo with you so you guys can
Please do. Please do. Please
yeah.
do.
Neo is not the same Neo from the Matrix.
Not yet.
Well, for me to know and for you to find out.
Yeah, man. All right. So that is JFF President Mr. Mike Ricketts and the General Secretary for the JFF, Mr. Dennis Chung. Want to thank him. Kronke, anything you want to say in closing? And Neo, anything in closing? Anything you want to add? Because I know persons are getting excited about watching the U20 games. Anything you want to say?
No, look, it's always good to be able to engage the members from the organization, the administration, and for them to try as best possible to be transparent with us. We're looking for information. We're looking to see how they're doing. We want to support them. We want to help and influence as much as we can in the entire fan community. So it's good that they're having a dialogue with us. They're coming out more in the media platform to provide their message and provide their perspective. My hope is, though, that management will have much more integration alignment. But because we seem to have a federalist construct, which I'm very surprised about. I thought it was more of a oneness in terms of how we operate. And I get the sense, even though they suggested that the Constitution of the JFF sort of overrides everything that's out there from a Parish standpoint, I get the sense that that's not, in operational, that's not how it works, actually. I get the sense the Parish are very much autonomous in terms of how they operate. And I think the alignment is an imperative for them to really be lockstep in terms of how they operate. So my hope, because I know that, as we have all heard about some of what happens in the media with CASAFA and all that, that there's no way CASAFA is aligned with the JFF from where I sit. So I'm not sure how that works going forward. And there may be other organizations, not as contentious in the relationship, but may have different perspective about how things work or should work. So for us to act together, you don't necessarily have to be a fan per se if you're part of the parish. You may not like how the organization be run, but you got to be able to work with them, because even enemies work together to achieve a common cause. Work together if you're really about the football, supporting the football, progressing the football. Work together to achieve a common objective. And if it comes to the fact where you think that there should be people changes, you have to influence those changes. You hear me talk about this for the entire evening, which is around. I hear a lot of I watch a program quite a bit, Mannings, as you know. I hear a lot of people you bring onto the program. They've been in roles for 10, 15, 20 years. And they talk about their accomplishments, and you scratch your head. Because if you're doing your job and that was the measure of your accomplishments, you would not be in the role 2 or 3 years, frankly. So it has to, I know that people complain about resources as the fundamental reason why they haven't achieved certain things. But you could put things in place sometimes which may not be resource driven, but one can see the vision, one can see what you're trying to accomplish, and one can see that if you had the resources, you'd accomplish it, or you have accomplished some things regardless or because even though you may not have the resources. I am not hearing this when I hear some of these individuals. They seem to be just being in the seat for a long time. They got comfortable. They haven't done real good change management. They talk about it, but they haven't effected anything to allow it to materialize and to allow them to have succession plan, protocols about how they operate. None of that seems to be in place and working well. So my hope is that we'll see some meaningful change. I was a little bit surprised about Dennis saying they have these FIFA audits every year and they haven't really put measures in place which are sustainable to make sure the recommendations from FIFA, which suggest that certain things are not working well, are really would work going forward. So I'm not sure why this time things will be different. I know, Nia's give them some praise for something they're doing, and we all should be commended when they do good things. But you still got to be skeptical when some things have been going on for years. You don't see the material change that need to occur, and you're being told that you should just trust going forward, and things will change. Hard to have that trust. So.
Yeah, well said, Kronke. Well said. Neil, what say you?
I agree with Kronke. I think surprising news to me about the Parish associations and their constitution. Read various incarnations of the JFF bylaws, the JFF constitution, did not actually come across a Parish constitution. But I think that, essentially one of the things that surprising to me is, well, if people are in agreement, one of the things that we need to push for is term limits on all of these positions, right? Because what I see is a old JFF, old Parish Association that is stubbornly refusing to come into the 21st century. We have better roads, we have better internet, we have all of these lines of communication, but we still have, and no disrespect to them, but we still have the people who've been there for 20 years, 30 years. And one particular Parish Association president said that, it's basically his for life, right? And I mean, no disrespect to these guys. They have done a lot for Jamaican football and they could have done a whole lot more. But the truth is that if we want to go into the 21st century and become the football powerhouse that I know Jamaica can be, then these are the type of changes that we're going to have to see implemented, right? We're gonna have to change personnel, we're gonna have to change policies, all of those things, So and lastly, yes, I am always skeptical, but I want to encourage people and say to them, listen, a year ago, year and a half ago, we couldn't get in touch with any of these people. They wouldn't speak to us, right? Now we have all, as a family, a lot of us on social media. We've made a lot of noise. We've demanded a lot. We've gone to games. We've contributed our minds, our efforts, our concentration, and so now we have a situation where we have a relationship with the JFF, right, for better or worse, and there is some change afoot. So continue marching, continue supporting Mannings man, coach's desk, and all of these other guys out there, right? So be encouraged. I think we're moving in a positive direction, and we are going to have to keep them in check. We're going to have to make sure they do the right thing.
Wonderful, well said. All right, and then let me just say, just in closing, coach's desk, I did. It would appear that your discussion got to the board level. Not your discussion, but what the person said got to the board meeting. But I did explain that you did the right thing, which you stopped the person and you went and apologized. And the truth is, we can't control all the utterances. When a person calls in on the phone, you just don't know. They could start out very nice and calm and just something.
He's got to the House of Congress. It's a good thing. He's got the notoriety. Whatever it does not, he's gotten it.
Yeah, no, but it was brought up. But I did explain that you did apologize, and you did stop them. You stop the person. So, but you don't control that. But I think, like I said, that we have to be smart, right? In terms of how we operate. There is already pressure from media, right? And the pressure is we are not real. We are not. You understand me? And we are having the kind of dialogue that they should be having. And so what we shouldn't do is to lower our levels and lose the opportunity to engage the people in this way, while still challenging them, right? Still challenging them to change and still advocating for things to change. But we fortunately, though people think like we don't know what we're doing and we are not real media people, we are the ones who are having the dialogue, and we must not take that lightly in the space, but still be able, like Neo says, to fight the fight and advocate when necessary and where necessary in a way that we can continually have dialogue. I'm hoping that Neo can have the conversation and it goes beyond the conversation, but to add, legal advice where necessary. Yeah.
Well, man, the funny thing is, when I do an analogy, I would say the traditional media in this type of situation give you the Cliff Note version. We're giving the entire book.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you depends on what your taste is, what you want.
Yeah. Yep. All right, people. I mean, yeah, I know you want to go and watch a game. Jamaica game is 2 hours. Want to thank Kronke, thank Neo for coming on. And listen, people, all of you, I don't understand this fascination that Manchester United fans have with Arsenal drawing against West Ham. Just let it go. We
only talk about Arsenal when we win. We're not talking about when we lose. And we lost today, by the way. We lost today.
Yeah. Don't you see we're having a Jamaica discussion? Everybody, you're not talking about Arsenal. Arsenal. Let the Arsenal.
We're not talking about Arsenal today.
Do you see me have on an Arsenal shirt? Do you see Kronke in an Arsenal shirt?
Hey guys.
People, we have overachieved this year. I am not perturbed. Even if we don't win the championship, I'm happy we're in Champions League, so we've overachieved.
Where can we watch a Jamaica game? Is it on the CONCACAF website?
YouTube. It's on the CONCACAF YouTube.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how much. And this could be a goal for Jamaica. What did she do? Oh my. Oh, this could be a goal. But listen, everybody, listen. Thanks for joining. I am Mannings man. This has been I Am Sure Sports. Join us tomorrow. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we're going to. That's 10 a.m. in Jamaica. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have Anton Carneal. Anton Carneal is a Trinidadian who is responsible for all the coaching courses that are going on. So we are going to hear from him what is in it, what is the equivalent. He's going to be on tomorrow. And we're also going to be having on right after he's up. We're going to be having on the show one of our reggae girls talking about the trip in England and all of that. So those 2 things we'll be doing.
Mannings man, you have so many shows. I think you have to have your regular programming schedule that you publish Monday through Friday. Monday through Friday schedule. So people they don't have to think about getting notification. They know when the programming times are. There's no, and they give the guests in advance, so it's well set up.
Wonderful. All right, but thank you guys. It was a pleasure doing this with you as usual. Neo, big up. I know you had some other stuff to do, and I'm glad that you at least you represented. You have on the Jamaican flag. You have your Jamaican shirt. Unlike Kronke and I don't know. I have on
the British colors because I'm trying to recruit British footballers to come play for us so we can get the World Cup. So I have on white, so I'm reaching out to a different constituent to bring them to be part of this organization.
Yeah,
man. Talking some. Yeah, all right, Mannings man.
Yeah, man. All right, everyone. Listen, enjoy the rest of the evening, and we will talk again tomorrow. I am Mannings man. This has been I Am Sure Sports, and as usual, we say we are over, and we are OUT out of here.